Happy Friday! Today we're going to talk about reading with expression. When we read out loud, we try to use our voice to show what the author means. This helps us to think about the meaning of what we're reading as we read it. I'm going to read the beginning part of a small passage, and I want you to think about how I can improve on my reading. Marco wanted to find an empty bench at the park, but all the benches were already taken. Finally, he saw a bench with nobody on it, so he rushed over. Sounded strange, didn't it? And hard to understand. I was not varying the pitch of my voice. A person's voice naturally changes when speaking, so a reader's voice should also vary. So I'm going to reread it and tell me if you can hear the difference. Marco wanted to find an empty bench at the park, but all the benches were already taken. Finally, he saw a bench with nobody on it, so he rushed over. The sentences make more sense when my voice rises and falls naturally. I also show meaning by giving the most important words more stress. I say them a little more strongly than the other words. I'm going to read the next part of the story. I want you to listen. Marco plopped down on the bench. I found the perfect place to eat our lunch, he called to his friend Cody. Fluent readers group words that belong together and pause between the groups. Sometimes there's a comma to indicate a slight pause, but at other times it's the meaning that indicates the need for a slight pause. End marks, such as exclamation points and question marks, also indicate a slightly longer pause. So I'm going to reread that small section with pauses where they're supposed to be. Marco plopped down on the bench. I found the perfect place to eat our lunch, he called to his friend Cody. So it's very important to take a look at your punctuation to see what is where you need to pause. So I'm going to attach a small document with a reading passage at the end of this. And I want you guys to read it first to yourself, and then I want you to read it to somebody else. But as you read it to yourself, I want you to put slashes where you think where a pause should be. 1 slash for when it's a small pause, and 2 slashes for when it's a longer pause. The longer pauses go typically at the end of a sentence, before you start reading another sentence. So after a period or an exclamation point or a question mark. So end marks indicate the pause at the end of a sentence. Commas indicate a slight pause within a sentence. And quotation marks often indicate words spoken by a character in the story, which you guys know this.